Today we're going to talk about the 11 scams to watch out for as a digital nomad. Marissa, before we get into the list, what is the worst scam that you have fallen for as a digital nomad?
Oh, I didn't know you were going to ask me this.
Yeah, on the spot.
Oh
What
my
comes to
God.
mind first? You know
There's
the
so
rule.
many. I know. Well, two came to mind. One, because we had already talked about it. I'm going to save it. It was on a boat in Colombia. I'm going to save
Okay.
that for when we talk about that topic. And the other one, well, this is also, but the other one was I got the wrong change currency from a taxi for like a decent amount of money that I did not, I lost.
Okay, we'll bookmark both those. Mine's
I
not on
was,
the list, so let me share
I was
mine.
very frazzled. Yeah. What's yours?
Yeah, because we can get to yours because they're both on the list. Mine I forgot to even put on the list. It
That.
it was my first trip to maybe my second trip to Colombia. I was in Bogota, of course, which
Colombia.
Bogota is
Get ya.
it's a little bit shady. It's like the only place that I've been where I'm like, okay, this place actually feels a little bit shady and dangerous. It's like buddy system in effect in Bogota at all times.
Felt that way in Turkey.
Oh, okay. I've heard that before,
Yeah.
actually. That's a thing, right?
Yeah.
You got a
It feels like
buddy
it.
system and yeah, okay.
I felt
So
it.
I'm walking down the street and this guy, I think I stop to wait to go across the street and this guy just immediately started shining my shoes. I was wearing boots, so it was like it looked like it was scuffed up leather, so he just jumped right in there and started buffing them. And then I'm like, I didn't really know better because I think it was like my first like digital nomad trip. And he just goes to town on these things. He's fast. I'm like, well, what do I do? I stop him? Like, what do I do? And then he like starts using leather protector on it. And he's like, okay, done. It's whatever he charged me for it. And he's like, and I use this extra special stuff. You have to pay for that. I'm like, oh no. And like now I
Didn't
would
even
have
need
been
my
like,
shoes shined.
now I would have been just like, hey, thanks for the free shoe shine. Like, I'll stop paying
Yeah.
you anything.
I
But yeah,
know.
he definitely got me. And I was an, I guess you write a
Amateur.
passage. You got to go through it. Yeah, yeah.
You go through it. You do.
You go through it. Yeah.
All right. Well, should we jump into the list?
Yeah. Let's go into number one. You want to take number one?
Yeah. Okay. Number one is taxis overcharging you. So there's a couple of ways this can look. Sometimes there's some countries that don't have the little running meter. So a lot of taxis in a lot of different countries, when you get in, they turn the meter on and you can watch the price tick up as you go. So there's really no arguing with what the price is. But there's some countries that don't have those. And if you don't agree on the price before you get into the car, I always recommend, like, I will not even sit in the back seat and like talk about it. I'm like, roll your window down. Let's
100%.
talk. And they don't want to. They're like,
Nope.
get in. Because once you're in, they start going and they will charge you anything. But the first one is like, you have got to agree on a price ahead of time, because if you don't, or even if you start driving thinking like, oh, surely it's going to be in the right range, we'll talk about it as we go, they will overcharge the shit out of you like so many times. And the more foreign you look in that country, like the more you will get charged. So that's one way it can look. And it can also just look like, even if you do agree on a price ahead of time, this specifically happens in Mexico a lot. I don't know if you've had this elsewhere, Jeff, but a lot of times when I've spent a lot of months in Playa del Carmen in Mexico. And so there's this is just an example I'll give. There's a boxing gym that I have to take a taxi to because it's like in very local, like neighborhood of Mexico, like not in the walking part of Playa. So it's like a 10-minute taxi ride that should cost like the equivalent of probably like $3. It's not much. But whatever it is, it should be like 50 pesos. And every time I used to go with these two very big, white, tall American looking guys. The three of us would go boxing. And if the two of them were standing next to me,
Different
they would
price.
try a different price. They would charge me 150, like 150,000 pesos and no less. Like I could not negotiate. They would not, they were like, this is what it costs. And they would drive away angrily if I tried to negotiate. And then I would make my two friends, I was like, go, I don't even speak Spanish that well. I can speak well enough to kind of like negotiate a price, but I would be like, you two go stand around the corner, like let me negotiate. And then as soon as I'm like, okay guys, like I get the 50K price, like wave them around the corner and come get in. So anyway, if you look foreign or if you look like you can be taken advantage of, you will. So it's just helpful to like ask if you're staying in a hotel or someone around, like you got to get to know what a price should be. If you're coming from an airport, for example, it's hard when you get to a new place because you don't know what a price should be. So I always recommend like Google it ahead of time and say like, what should it cost to go from the airport to, like to this location, or like get a good feel for what it should be. Because if you're going to negotiate, Ubers kind of take away a lot of these problems now because it's like it's set, you know what it is. But If you're just doing cash and negotiating with drivers, they will overcharge you. But
The
tell
most
me
common
any
thing-
experiences you have.
Oh yeah, the most common scam you're gonna run into is digital nomad. When you first start out, it's gonna be taxis. It's gonna be the
Yes.
first thing that you're hit with, and the most often thing that you're hit with. And most often it's gonna be the airport, because you're coming in somewhat naive, a little bit fresh, and they're gonna be able to tell you anything.
You
Just
don't know
going-
better.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of times the taxi will tell you there's an airport charge to go in there. And most of the time there is. So let a taxi in there, they're going to have to charge them. But it's a certain amount, and they might act like it's a fixed amount. It's not. It's arbitrary. So I go to the airport about a month ago to pick up a friend, and it was 200 pesos. And then
In
I go
Mexico?
just to leave. Yeah, in Puerto. And I go just to leave, and the guy's like, it's 300 pesos. I said, no, it's not. He said, well, there's an airport charge. I'm like, I know it is, but I know what the amount should be. He's like, ugh. And I'm just like, I'm never afraid to walk. I'm like, okay, I'm going to grab another taxi.
Yeah.
And
I've
they'll
walked
either
away
get
from so
really-
many taxis.
They'll
like,
get really
bye.
pissed, or they'll get stubborn enough to be like, all right, fine. I'll give you the price that you want. And it's like, okay. So you have to negotiate it beforehand.
Be willing to walk away.
Yeah, just be willing to walk away. I've walked away from a bunch of taxis. I'm like,
They
ah,
get
peace. See
mad.
you later.
They're like,
They
oh,
do get
they
mad.
scoff at you. And I'm like, okay, I know what this should. And then someone comes along. And
They
they're
get
like
mad that they
happy.
didn't-
They're happy
you
for the
didn't buy
next
their
price. And you're
scam.
like, what the hell? Yeah.
Wild, yeah. They get mad that
wild.
you didn't buy their scam.
Yeah.
So those ones are annoying because there is no meter. It's not Uber. You're not getting a very clear, this is what it is, this is
Yeah.
what it isn't type of thing. It can vary by time of day too. Like if you're coming back from Zicatela, which is like the club area at night in Puerto, it's a 200 to
Doubles.
300.
Yeah.
No, triple. Whereas getting there is maybe 100 at the most.
They
so
know.
yeah,
They know they're in demand at that point.
yeah. And again, just walk away. Sorry, this is what I've got. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
And then like, God damn it. And they'll take you because they want the money.
Yeah.
But it's definitely the most common one. And you just have to, you have to know. And also there's I don't know how much we want to get in this as much, but there are certain places where you need to only take certain taxis. Some taxis
Yeah.
are not very legit.
Yeah.
And it might be a little unsafe. I'm thinking of Bolivia.
Yeah.
Remember
That's
there
really
were
the only
certain-
one I can think of that was so.
What was the color of taxi they were supposed to avoid?
There was
one
like
that you
different, yeah, I can't remember how it looked. Diego used to tell us, but there were some that were
Mm-hmm.
legitimately like part of public transportation, like from the country, and other ones that looked like the exact same car. I feel like they had a different sign on their roof or something like that, or a name.
Yeah,
I
that
can't
was
remember
it.
how you could tell them apart, but some of them were like the Wild West of just people in a car wanting to do it and will charge you whatever and just aren't as safe.
Yeah. So I would say just as a default, if you can get Uber, I'd probably use Uber.
Yeah.
But I mean, it depends on how strong the taxi unions are wherever you're staying.
Yeah.
A lot of times they're just banned outright. Puerto, no Ubers anywhere. You're using taxis.
Same in Playa.
The same apply?
Yeah, Playa del Carmen. The cartels were like, haven't not let Uber in yet. There's Uber Eats in Playa del Carmen, but not Uber taxis because the,
Probably
the
why in
cartels are
Puerto-
still running the taxis.
Yeah, the cartels are running everything in Puerto, so I'm assuming it's the same exact thing.
Yeah, but I would say
So-
like the two main lessons, whatever. I feel like we're talking a lot about Mexico, but just whichever country you're in, I've had this all in Egypt and wherever you are, it doesn't matter. Is negotiate before you get in the car and also research the prices ahead of time so you know what you're negotiating and can agree. Those are the main ways to avoid that scam. And it won't be perfect, but it will help you a lot.
I'm glad we knocked that out number one because that's definitely going to be
It's just the main. It's the
most common,
easiest. And it's
the
not
first
the
one you run
worst
into.
one. You're out some bucks, but it's like, you're just like, oh man,
Yeah.
It's not a dangerous scam or anything like that, but it's just like, come on.
you don't want to feel like you're getting ripped off.
Yeah, look at you. All right, what's next?
Number two is bootleg garbage. Hey, bootleg stuff.
I feel like you're more passionate about this
gear.
one than I am. Give us some
I don't-
examples.
I don't think so. I think it's just kind of annoying. Like, the first thing that comes to mind is like when you're in a touristy area in Medellin, Colombia, they're just trying to sell you all kinds. It's always glasses. What are the glasses that are always
Like
Ray-Bans?
sunglasses? Yeah.
Ray-Bans. Yeah, right? Oh, the Ray-Bans. Like, yeah, are
No,
they?
they're not.
$5 Ray-Bans? Or what is the watch? The Rolex watches? Obviously, they're not real Rolex watches.
Yeah.
But they've
the
all got the
purses.
crappy print on it, Air Jordans, Nike stuff. And chances are, if you see somebody selling in the streets, not that brand.
No.
Kind of a common sense thing. However, it was funny. I was sitting in a bar. It's fun to watch like new tourists. Like clearly they're tourists, not travelers. Like just go and buy stupid stuff on the streets, and you'd see people by, it's always like soccer jerseys, right? People going by with soccer jerseys. The guy ropes them in and he's trying to, I'm watching this happen. The guy's like 120,000 pesos, which is like $30 for this thing that's going to just disintegrate in the first wash.
Oh, no.
You know it is. And he's
Poor
negotiating. It's like, oh yeah, of course. They're all knockoff. They're not legitimate. It's just garbage apparel. I think the rule of thumb is if you're naked and you need a shirt, go buy one, for whatever reason. If you want a shirt and he's selling it, whoever it is selling it, don't buy it off the street. Go into a store. Even if you are in a store, some places, it's kind of hit and miss if it's even real there anyways. Probably not real.
Yeah, though I will say, this one always makes me laugh. In Nepal, so I think I told the story, it might have been, what was it, a couple episodes ago, or maybe, 2 episodes ago, we were talking about the trips. We said, like, fuck it, book it, we're going. So I went with some friends to Nepal, just, like, completely unprepared to, like, go hike for 5 days. And I feel like, most people, when you go to Nepal or to do any, like, giant mountain trekking, like, you bring your gear, you've got good shoes, you've got the socks, you've got the warmth, like, you have the things you need. And we had nothing. But anyway, in Nepal, when you get to Kathmandu, like, there are just streets and streets and streets of, like, North Face. It feels like North Face is, like, taken over the town, and every single storefront is just like gear, and it's all North Face. But you're like, it's obviously not North Face. But some of the stuff, like, I had to buy some stuff there. Like you said, it's like, I needed the socks, I needed the shirt, I needed the whatever I need, all the things. But I still actually it was actually really good quality. Whatever we got, I actually, like, still use and wear and love. And it was like a fifth of the price of, it's probably like a tenth of the price of actual North Face stuff. But anyway, it just makes me laugh because the whole town is just like, here's all the branded North Face gear, like, nothing is. But if you go to Nepal, just wait and go get everything you need there, because it's actually some pretty good quality stuff for maybe
that's
laugh.
Funny. That reminds me of that really popular Northeast brand. It had like the wolf fur around the collar. I saw it everywhere.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Patch on it. It was like Arctic something.
Arcteryx?
No. Maybe like 6-7 years ago, everybody had one of these things. It was so trendy.
I don't even know
it
the
was
brand.
It's like a $300 jacket or $400 jacket or something. I can't remember what it was. Something Arctic Goose or something.
Okay,
Ooh.
that you would see for sale like in a different country.
No, it just reminds me of one of those high-end brands that you would see knocked off all over the place, like North Face.
Yeah. Anyway, I never forget that. I don't know. It's just such a funny thought. Just like streets lined with North Face gear. Like, this is not. But yeah, Kathmandu is it's just like a little town that's basically like prepping you to go. Just buy more things you need to get on the mountains. But
yeah. Next one's for you and your story. It is the like fake guides.
Yes.
Or fake. Yeah, it's like a fake travel guide, or I guess it could
tour
be
guide.
Tours as well. Yeah,
Adventure stuff.
Adventure stuff. Yeah. Tell me your story.
So I will say, to be fair, this was like, actually, I would say the very first months of my very first Nomad trip was to Colombia with a friend. I had like just quit my corporate job, just started working remotely. It was like the first place, just with a friend from college. So we went to Colombia. We were in Cartagena, which is like touristy of all tourists. So I didn't know all the tips. I feel like a version of me today would never have done this. But anyway, in Cartagena, you think when you're in Colombia on the beach, you think of like beautiful beaches and all these things. Cartagena's like land, like you are on the water, but there are 0 beaches. And my friends and I are like beachy people. So we're like, all right, like we got to get to a beach.
It's so surprising, right? The beach sucks. Why does it suck?
There is nothing there. There's no beaches there. It's like land to sea. It's the stone wall, war to the sea. It's a cool, like, old little town for a day or two to explore, but nothing more. But anyway, there's these islands called the Rosario Islands that are like a short boat ride away. So we're like, all right, we're going to spend a day on the beach. Like, there's these pictures of these, like, this beautiful beaches on these islands. I don't remember how we found this tour guide. Like, we must have just, like, walked on the street or something and ran into a guy who gave us a good price or something. So, yeah, I don't think we researched it or bought it online or anything. So I honestly don't have a memory. It was probably like 11 years ago. And anyway, so we go, like, we got on the boat with those fucking life jackets like everybody has to wear, which is, I hate those so much.
The big orange boys.
Oh, yeah. They're like the worst. Actually, I don't even think they were orange, but you just had to wear them. They weren't as bad as like the Agent orange like everybody wears. Anyway, we're like funneled onto this speedboat, taken to, what we think is going to be like just a big public beach. You can walk around, go wherever. I want to say it was probably like $150 or like $200 each or something to get there and
No.
back for the day. Yes. I didn't know anything.
What? Oh no.
And it like
They
included
gotcha.
like a meal or so. They fucking got us. We arrive there. It is not like a big, expansive, public, beautiful beach. It is a like private quote. It's like a rundown, like empty resort that nobody is staying at. That like you can't leave to go anywhere else. So you're like on this like 10-foot beach that is and then you have
Oh
to.
no.
I can't
It's
remember. I
yours, though.
guess with like the 20 other people who we were dropped off with.
Oh really?
And I
God.
think because we had paid them, you also like paid for the meals there, but it's like you can't go anywhere else because it's just like clearly their friends that they've like brought you to this place where they're getting a cut of the money or whatever. But then we're stuck for like, I don't remember, it was like 4, 5, 6 hours or something, like on this like small tiny beach at this rundown hotel. And I was like, whatever, we're here. I will enjoy the ocean, the water. And then this is where you know it's sketchy. I did not have a scuba diving certification at this time. My friend I was with did, and they were like, I think we paid additionally for this, but they're like, do you want to go scuba diving? And we're so bored on this tiny little thing. I was like, yes, I do. And I like, it's dangerous to do. My friend knew what she was doing. So these guys took us. They only spoke Spanish. We go out on this boat, jump into the water, and he's like, they told us the rules like ahead of time of like, okay, like breathe this way, don't go up fast, do the things. But my friend she speaks fluent Spanish. She's like translating to me. So basically like, don't do this, do this. If you get water, like, push it up, blow your nose, do these things. And I was just like, all right, just jump in and go. I think we probably paid them an extra couple like $100 because it's just like it was more vacation-y than like long-term digital nomad. But it was just like scam after scam after scam that looking back at the end of the day, we're like, ugh. Anyway, we are both much more advanced travelers now who that would never happen to. But I didn't know. I didn't know anything. I didn't know better. Wanted some activities and a beach and adventure. And that is how you get taken. So what's your advice, Jeff, on how
Cartagena.
Yes.
I was just thinking of actually Tinder in Cartagena is also a scam.
We'll get to that one.
I don't think we have that on the list, so I brought it up.
Oh, okay. I think we had one about
bonus
income about women taking advantage of men. It's kind of not Tinder
Oh,
specific.
I guess it's okay.
We'll save it for that part.
We can
we'll
save
it
that.
for that part.
But we'll make it. Yeah.
As advice, so Jeff, if someone's listening to this and maybe they will be a new traveler like I was back then, what would you say? Like, how would you tell someone not to have what just happened to me? But like, how would you say, like, if you want to go on adventures, how do you tell people to be wise and not get taken advantage of by tour guides?
Like, typically, we don't get any sort of guide that we just find that's like grabbing you on the streets,
Don't do it.
Like, that's really, especially if you're getting on a boat with them. Oh, dear God. Like, you've got no exit. That's dangerous. And you're going to get probably most likely ripped off. Physical harm.
Yeah, I have
Maybe,
read
but
stories
probably
of
just
people
ripped
getting
off.
physical harm in from Cartagena from that, like more recently, but mostly just ripped off.
Yeah, either one. You don't love it. But I would say most of the ones that we find through the community, through friends, but also like well-reviewed online types of, you can do Airbnb experiences is great. I think it's underutilized still. You can use a Viator, TripAdvisor is usually fairly decent. Those are kind of like usually a little bit overpriced, but yeah. And also through community, I think a lot of times we find through, and if you don't have community yet, stick with the trusted ones. Use like TripAdvisor, use Google Maps and read all the reviews and everything, but just don't grab anybody off the streets, right?
Yeah.
That's where you're
Don't
gonna
do
get.
that.
That's where you're
Don't
gonna
do
get.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I will say try to like, sometimes with Viator or like TripAdvisor, sometimes you don't like they go to big companies. There's a lot if you want to be a more like ethically sustainable traveler to try to give your money to local tour guides. But like you said, you could research online, see if they're local people or big companies. Google is a great one for that. Ask people at your hotel, like who maybe work at the front desk. Not if you feel like they're going to scam you and give you something, but you can kind of get a tell for like, it was just like kind of a cool young person working there. It's like, hey, do you know of any, like it might even be their friend, but they're usually good people because it's tied back to like the hotel and their job and things like that. So yeah, ask around, research online, try to find some cool local ones. Airbnb experience is great, as Jeff said, but yeah, I guess the takeaway from this is don't find someone on the street and let them take you somewhere.
Yeah. There's a saying in Colombia, it says no da papaya. You know that one?
What is that one?
No da papaya.
Don't
Don't.
give
Translates
papaya.
to don't give papaya. And that basically to them means don't give papaya means don't give people an opportunity to take advantage of you.
Yes.
So yeah, it's like just don't make it easy for them for certain.
Yeah.
Okay, next on the list is people giving out change. And that could mean a few different things. What it first means to me, and I want to get your take too, because you've got a different interpretation. When I would get into taxis in Puerto, in Mexico, the scam was you would get somewhere and the taxi would pretend to not have change for a larger bill. So say,
always.
for example, the cost is 120 pesos, and you have a 200 peso bill only, smallest denomination. I say, oh, sorry, I don't have change. Meaning that you're not going to get the ride for free. He's going to take the 200 and give you nothing because he doesn't have change for it.
They
That
always
really
do.
pisses me off.
If you demand, you're like, all right, well, I'm not giving you anything.
Yeah.
You're like, oh. Like if you ask long enough.
One time I already handed him the money. He's like, I don't have change. I'm like, show me your wallet. Open your wallet. And he's like, well, I'm like, if you want to get paid, you're going to open your wallet and show me. So that's not the
Sassy
advised
Jeff.
route to take. Again, it would get back. Yeah, I know. The initial route would be starting at the beginning when you're negotiating the price and saying, this is what I have. Do you have change
Yeah.
for that? Is
Yeah.
probably the correct way to do it. The incorrect way to do it would be to fight them at the end like I do. And the very incorrect way to do it
Give
would
them the
be
money
to
first, like you did.
it'd just be like, take whatever they give you at the end and say, I'm sorry, I can't give you change. And you just eat it. That sucks.
Yeah.
That's my experience with the correct change, but I think you had a different interpretation of that.
I did. And
Yeah,
one
what
other
was
tip
it?
for that, I will say before if you miss a first step and you don't tell them what you have before and don't agree ahead of time and all of that, let's say you have only 200 when it's 120, before I give it to them, I will say, hey, I have 200. Do you have change? And they'll say no. And I'm like, I'm sorry, this is all, like, I will sit in that car for 3 minutes and be like, they will find another taxi. They will open their wallet. They will suddenly find change in their pocket that they forgot they had. Like, wink, wink. Like, anyway, so just hold your ground and say, hey, like, this is what I have. I need change. And like, they will find the change. But anyway, I'm glad you said that one because that is definitely a version of it. The one that I was thinking is more of a sleight of hand. So what is very common, especially when you're working with like currency that you're not as familiar with, you kind of like, you don't know what it looks like, the colors of the money. You're like, oh, wait, did I give you 200 or did I give you a 20? A lot of taxis, especially, but even at like gas stations or food, like restaurant, like little, what do you call it, like food on street food. Definitely when you're bargaining with those vendors for bracelets and t-shirts or whatever, what will happen is, let's say you give them the 200K in Mexico or wherever you are, and they will give, let's say something was 15,000 and you give them 200 because that's all you have. They'll give you 5,000 back, and you look at it and you're like, wait, I gave you a 200, and they'll pull. They have a sleight of hand so fast you will not see. They will pull out a 20 and be like, no, this is what you gave me a 20, so your change is 5, and you think in your head because you don't really know the currency well.
Did I? Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I must have. You don't know because it's just
I
like.
hate it so bad. I hate it.
Yeah,
Hate it.
that is a real one. So I would say two
Lying.
things. One, really make sure you like, you know what you gave them, and also tell, like, it's so annoying because, like, you know, sometimes you're working, you can't, I don't know, it's just a lot to think about. It's like every time you make a payment, you know, sometimes it's too late, but if you can say, hey, here's 200, and so it's like you're both aware, like, do you have this amount of change? So that it's not like, because there's it's like a magic trick. They're so quick with it. They swap it right out, and you don't even have time to think or know. So that's a big one. That's when you asked me at the beginning. That happened to me in Budapest, actually. And I was really frazzled one morning. I was like running late somewhere. I had to meet someone, and I think I had been there only a day. So, and I usually try to avoid cash as much as I can. That I gave them, I don't remember what the number was, but I gave him something. He gave it to me back, and I just was like flustered and left. And I think he took like $60 from me. Like, it was something like that. It was a big one. And I was just like, like, I didn't realize till later, but you know, I feel like stuff like this happens when you're flustered, you're running late, you're tired, you're frazzled. So, I mean, it can also happen when you're very clear in your mind, but, and I was like a good nomad then. I was like, that was only a couple of years ago. So I should have known better. But again, it was just the state of my mind and where I was in the morning. And He was a nice guy. I, like, wasn't expecting it from him. And I realized later, I was like, damn, like, he took a lot of that money from me. So it happens, you know, cut our losses. But just, yeah, the more you know, the more you can watch out for it.
You know what I forgot for this list? Now that I think about it,
Add it in here.
cops and bribes.
Oh,
Our
let's add it
Paraguay
in.
bribe. I had to bribe a cop in Mexico about a month and a half ago.
Tell us about the Paraguay one.
That one was funny. He was like the nicest thief ever.
Yeah, this is Jeff and I together.
Yeah, so we're in Paraguay, just checking countries off the list. There's no reason to go to Paraguay.
No reason.
We even drove a big portion of it. It's like, oh.
You taught me how to drive a stick shift there.
It's one of my superpowers. You picked it up in like 5 minutes.
Jeff said, if you ever need to learn to drive stick, Jeff is your guy.
Yeah. So yeah, you learn how to drive. And I think it was on the way back from that. And we get pulled over for something. What was that? No daylight headlights or something?
The headlights. So there's a rule in Paraguay that we did not know. So, you know, I guess this is also a scam of like just weird rules you won't know. But it's a rule that no matter what, like 24 hours a day when you're driving, you have to have your headlights on. So like what in the States or wherever else, when it's dark, you put your headlights on. There is a rule 24 hours a day, you must have your headlights on. And we did not because we did not know. So anyway, go on.
Yeah. So we get pulled over for not having the headlights on. And really, really nice cop walks up to us. And he explains to us that we didn't have our headlights on. And he hands up this, I think it was a card reader, right? It's like a chip reader that showed the fine amount and how much we owed. And it said 500 something pesos. And I think I had 100 pesos in cash on me. I just looked at it. I'm like, no, don't have that. Okay, shrugs his shoulders, goes back to the machine, types in something new, and now it says 300, and he shrugs. I'm like, I don't have that. Okay, and then he asked to see my wallet, and I hold out my wallet. I think I had 100, which might have been the equivalent of
I think it was like
10?
$20 or $30 or something total we paid. Maybe
not much.
Maybe less. I don't know.
And he like goes right past the $100 bill in U.S. dollars, and goes and grabs.
Oh, you got a U.S. 100.
Yeah, he goes right past that one. No idea what the denomination was.
That's
grabs
funny.
the 100 in Paraguayan.
Whatever.
Dobbs don't know. And I think that was like whatever he said, $15 to $30 somewhere in that range. And okay, and just sends us off on our way. It was absolutely a shakedown. Had nothing to do with safety. Had nothing to do with anything. Had everything to do with a scam.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's kind of fun.
That happens a lot in Mexico as well. Like,
oh God, yeah.
Like whether it's pulled over, even walking on the street, sometimes like cops. I feel like this happens more to men. This is truly the way I always say, like, this is the one place I feel like it's safer for women to like be around than men, because you guys actually get this one more than us in Mexico. But the cops will take you and pretend you've done something wrong, or you've like walked across the street wrong, or you have something on you that you don't have. And if you just give them like $20, they'll just leave you alone. But sometimes they'll take, if you have more, say just like don't have a lot of cash. I think a moral of the story for a lot of these is just like don't carry like, or if you do, like have a small amount in your wallet and put the rest in like a pocket or like somewhere different that you can pull out a wallet and be like, this is all I have. So like have some hidden pockets, or don't bring cash, so that you can be like, this is like true. And you can truly kind of say like, this is all I got. And they can look and believe you. But yeah, the cops will get you. I feel like this is a bad rap for Mexico on this podcast today, but like, I think part of it is because
True
Jeff and
things
I,
to watch out for. I mean.
they're true things, but I feel like it's because you and I spend so much time there that a lot of the examples coming to our mind are from there, and they're all like petty things. But I mean, you and I both choose. It's one of my favorite countries to spend time in. So don't not go to Mexico. I feel like it has such a bad, dangerous rap, but it's so great. So
Yeah.
And it's all petty things. It's minor.
It is. You got to pay tax every now and then. It's just
Yes.
that's the way it goes.
But yeah, that's a good one to add to the police. Okay, before we go on to the next one also, I feel like this is like, not that we're like, now that we sold you on traveling from all the scams, but we love it. It's a price to pay. It's worth it. But if you are wanting to travel more so you can be scammed in all these countries like Jeff and I, no. But if you're looking for a remote job that gives you the freedom to travel anywhere you want, whenever you want, like Jeff and I have been doing the last many, many years, and you are not yet sure what remote job to do or how to find them, where to get it, do make sure to join our email list. You can go to beachcommute.com/email, and we send daily remote job listings. There's a list you can find there of like over 300 fully remote companies that let you work from anywhere. So we are helping you get remote jobs so that you can travel the world and be scammed.
to have the pleasure of being scammed. The privilege
cracking me up today.
of being scammed.
It is the tax of travel. There's so many episodes we
is.
talk about all the joys and benefits and beautiful places and things you'll do, but you gotta know, like, this is the streets of Hard Knock. What is it called? I'm messing that up, but
You always do.
always do. But either way, it's like, it toughens
like
you.
that.
You gotta, how to deal with the world. This is the real world.
It's
Okay.
true. We have been dogging Mexico a little bit, but I mean,
We love Mexico. You just spent 4 months there and like want to be there.
I know the cops were the only danger to us there. Like
It's true. The cops are.
They're the only liability. Everything else is like safe in most of
Yeah.
the places I've been. They're
It
the
is
only
that way. I mean, I can say with the
criminals
cops as well.
around.
And I will tell the story, so it's not only Mexico. When I was I was living in Nigeria for a month, and the cops there. I remember we were coming home from the nightlife in Nigeria is like one of the most incredible things you can do, and it like goes till very late.
Cool.
It doesn't start till 12 or 1 in the morning. So we're driving home. There's these cops that will like stand in the road with these giant machine guns and like pull you over. If you have a good driver, they'll just like whiz past them and like not stop. But the ones that do stop, they're like, can I have some money for soda? Like, they're looking for like $1, $2. Like, they're not trying to shake you down for anything. Literally, the cops would ask us for like, do you have money for a soda? It's like, that's the worst you're asking. So anyway, it happens all over the world for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. It's just
Not just
we
Mexico.
spend a lot of time in Mexico, and,
Yes,
and the cops
we got
are
some Mexico stories.
It's not a surprise. Not a surprise.
Yes, Nigeria, they're the same. All right, what's next on the list?
Next on the list is when people put something on your body and make you buy it. So
Have you actually had this? Will you explain to someone what
thinking-
this means?
Yeah, I've had this happen, but they never got away with it. So a good example is it's like a bracelet. Somebody on the streets making bracelets, and they're like, "Here, try this on," and they put it on you real quick, and then they're like, "This is going to be X amount of money." Like you just bought it, assuming that you bought it, and they don't want to take it back when you hand it to them. They're like, "No, it's yours. This has happened. I've also had people in Spain like put something in front of you where you're sitting at a diner. Like it can be anything. It could be like a lighter. It could be a pen. A lot of times it is a pen. And they're like, "Oh, it's yours now." And you're like, "I didn't buy that."
you.
And they're like, "Well, it's on you, or you're holding it, so it's yours." And the best advice in these instances, I would say, is just don't touch it, and don't let
Never
anybody
touch it.
put anything on you. Don't let
Never.
anybody touch you. Just don't let anybody touch you, and don't touch anything that they hand you. I just don't touch anything that people hand me ever.
Yeah.
Under any circumstances, no matter where I am. Just don't put up your bubble.
Yes, especially don't take like people, walking the street, they'll always give you something to hold, to feel, to put on you. So yeah, just
Don't.
whatever you do, just don't. It's so easy to do. It's like, oh, okay. But just, don't eat anything, don't drink anything, don't let them put any item on your body, and don't even hold anything. So you can look, but do not touch is the moral of the story, because they put it on you and they're like, okay, that's this much. You're like, no, I don't want it. They're like, no, you already took it. And it's like, what? Like, in what world does this happen?
Yeah.
But it's real. So that's our advice there.
Yeah. Have you had that happen before to you?
I don't think I've definitely had it happen where people have tried. I'm trying to think of the countries. I feel like it happens all over the world, and I'll just give it back and be like, no, like I am not. But it's, oh man, I can't even think of specifically where it is. But yes, the answer is yes, I have.
Okay.
But I haven't.
I feel like you've fallen
succumbed
for
to
more
it.
scams than
I haven't
thought
succumbed
you
to it.
would.
No, I
Okay,
haven't.
yes,
I haven't had
okay.
it happen, but I've had it attempted. That's
Okay.
fair.
Okay.
I feel like I don't normally fall for all. I feel like I actually pride
surprising.
myself on like
Yeah.
really not getting scammed. Like I'm a pretty like hard ass negotiator, traveler. Like we don't even have on here like I don't even think negotiating was not like people will just scam you of overcharging you for. I'm gonna add that quick one in. This is like we talked about.
We just keep coming up with new shit.
I know we talked a little bit about the bootleg gear, but another one on here I probably
Yeah.
should have included is that like you just will. People will like if you go to markets, you think about like in Turkey, like in Oman, in Mexico, and just like any of those like street markets that you like walk around to buy things, any country, people will try to overcharge you because it's one of those like they're not trying for repeat business, they're just trying to get you, sell you, and have you go on their way. And it's those places where it's like you walk and see the market stalls of like you see the same things over and over and over again of like the same bracelets, the same bowls, like Guatemala, wherever you are. So my advice here, this is what I say. I'm like, I don't usually get scammed. I'm like I'm a negotiator. Whenever I'm with friends, they're like,
I know
Marissa,
you
will
are.
you negotiate this for
You
me?
are.
And I'm like, I got you.
Yeah.
But what I do, my tip here for this, so you don't get overcharged for things, it's kind of like the taxis we talked about, where it's like you have to know what it's worth. So if there's something I actually genuinely want, I will go, and it's at like every single vendor. So I'll pop into a couple of them and see like what price they start at and what I can get them down to. And then I walk away and I do that for like 3 different ones. And then you get a feel for like when people will actually walk away. So you're like, okay, they start at 150. I know it's actually worth 30. Now I can just go to whichever one I want and get it at 30 instead of being like, oh, they start at 150. 70 sounds great when you can really get much lower. So anyway, people will try to overcharge you.
This one woman.
They do not like me. I've learned over the years. So anyway, that's that. Okay. So yeah, don't put things on your body. Don't pay more than you should. So now next, the skimmers. Tell me about this one.
Yeah, so skimmers on ATMs. You also see this in the States. You see it on gas station pumps too. It's like a device that goes over the ATM reader device, and it doesn't actually work for whatever you're buying. Literally skims the information on your ATM, and then the scammer will come and pick up that device, just pull it off because it looks exactly like fits right over the actual device, and it's now scammed your information. It now has your device, or it now
steal
has
your
ATM
credit card information,
and they can use your
or debit card.
Probably use it online to buy a bunch of stupid shit, and then all of a sudden you've got fraudulent charges. Coming out of it.
And be done by it's so if you go to like an ATM or a gas station, as Jeff said, it's not usually like the bank or the person who owns the ATM or the person who owns the gas station. It's like people, just scam artists, just if it's all ones that are outside. So if you think about, I would say for ATMs, never use ATMs or just on the street. Like make sure you go into a bank or inside of something that's like has security or watched or locked or owned by something.
For sure,
because the ones on the street, it's like other people that will come and, as Jeff said, just put these skimmers on top of it and then just take your information. So the 2 ways to avoid this is anytime I use any one of those things, whether it's a gas station, an ATM, you can kind of pull, if you can kind of like tug at it. So like where you put your debit or your credit card in, if you like pull on it a little bit, it will come off. So you can make sure it's like really strongly connected. And then you hopefully know that it's not, still it can be scam, but that like brings your chances down. And then just only use ones. You can't really do this. So gas stations, especially because they're all outside, you just pull on them and make sure. And then for ATMs, just only use ones that are inside of stores or banks, or mostly banks. Try to use them inside of banks.
Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it, right? I mean, just kind of, you got to.
And that hasn't happened to me, Jeff.
No, it hasn't happened to me either before too, fortunately. Yeah, no, that's the best advice I got for that, because I haven't seen it happen, but I know it exists. So
yeah. All right. Well, the next one ties into your Tinder Columbia. Tell us about number 7.
Yeah, this one's more for the men. I don't see it happen as much for women, but it's women at bars and women on Tinder. A lot of times, depending on where you go, especially in places in Latin America, thinking like Colombia, parts of Mexico for sure, the people that you match with on Tinder are not interested in going on a date with you. They're interested in scamming you in some way. And it can be particularly dangerous depending on where you go. So the way these operations can work is you get matched with somebody, you go on a date, and you can be drugged for one, and it could be scopolamine, I think is what it's called. It's like the zombie drug. They put it in your drink, or they can blow it in your face.
It's like a roofie.
And you're still because you're actually still conscious and functional.
Okay.
But it's only like your limbic system moving around, and they can tell you what to do. And a lot of what they'll do is just run you to all the ATM machines and exhaust you at every ATM machine and take all your money. You could also be drugged and just be robbed at your apartment when you go there, or their boyfriend or pimp will come and rob you for them, things like that. Yeah, really, really dangerous certain parts where like you think you're going on a date, but you're really not going on a date. You're getting scammed. And the problem is like, yeah, you're going to lose money, but also a lot of times they don't care or know how to dose properly, and people are just disappearing in certain places, and it's very, very dangerous. So if you are a man going on a date specifically in Colombia, maybe don't at this point. I'm actually thinking probably don't would be my advice.
Mom, that's your advice.
If you are, use a buddy system, like check in, have somebody follow you around because it's not particularly safe.
I was gonna ask. I was like, well, how would you avoid that, Jeff?
You know, it's a good
Just
tell is, yeah, probably don't. But also a good tell is if you go somewhere and all of a sudden you start matching with everybody that you swipe right on, guess what? It's not your good profile picture. It's nothing to do with you.
Oh, God.
I would, I would say just kind of don't in certain places. I don't know. It's just particularly dangerous. I'd like to get the woman's perspective on the female perspective on this too, but I know it's a really, really big scam.
I
used
feel like
against
this is
men.
horrible to admit. Like, it brings me not slight joy that like anything bad would happen to anybody, but it's like I just feel like it's usually always the females who have to be like, worried on dating apps, worried on meeting people, because for you guys, you're getting stolen from us. It's like you're sexually assaulted, raped, whatever that might be, like, physically harmed. I just feel like it's the same as in Mexico where I'm like, this is the one place like women don't worry, like the men get, anyway, I wish nothing was happening anywhere, but there's some part of me that's like, you guys finally understand what it's like to be a female, like where this is just around the world. Anywhere you have to be mindful of just safety when you're dating, when you're on dating apps, when you're meeting humans. So anyway, I don't wish it upon anyone, but like I feel like this helps men understand how we feel. But yeah, I think I talked about this story on the podcast once as well, but I had a friend, I can't remember if we were in Panama, Colombia, Mexico, somewhere. We were somewhere in Latin America. And he also, like, we were hanging out the next day and he was so exhausted. I was like, why are you so tired? He was like, I was up the whole night and I knew he had just gone on a date. And I was like, well, that, like, good for you. That sounds fun. He was like, no, like I had to stay awake while she was sleeping so to make sure she wasn't stealing my stuff. And I was like, well, this is when I was like a newer nomad. And I was like, you have to do what? Like, it just never occurred to me that someone would like come over, sleep with you or pretend to do whatever and then steal all your stuff while you're sleeping. Like it shocked me. So I think it's, good PSA for the men out there to be mindful when you're dating, especially in Latin America countries with women you don't know. But in general, I guess it's probably a good practice.
Yeah. So, I mean, just right here in the stats, 2024 in Medellin, 39 died.
Wow.
Almost all men. Yeah. Yeah, it's particularly dangerous. That's almost one a week. So I'd say just don't. They think that the real number is probably closer to 80. So
and what would you say,
really bad.
Jeff, if someone's traveling there and like meeting people out and about? Is it different, or you think is it mostly like meeting people on dating apps that's happening?
I think a lot of this is dating apps, but also use a lot of common sense because it can happen out and about. Like if you're at a bar, I've heard of this, and a local starts hitting on you. It's not normal for a guy to happen.
Poor
like
man.
A guy. Yeah, I mean, guys never get approached. It just doesn't happen. And if all of a sudden you start getting approached, your alarm bells should go off. It's not because you're an interesting foreigner.
Aww.
I promise. If you're getting attention as a man, something's off. It's just
we had
the way
this
it is.
with this was like a travel friend, not a nomad friend, but in Brazil with a group of people who he was like, this woman, she loves me. Like everyone was going home. They're like, let's come home. And he was like, no, I'm going out. Like we're hitting the town. And he got robbed. She took all the stuff at like 2 a.m. and, on her way. But Brazil. So it seems to be a Latin America, South America kind of deal.
Yeah. It tends to be. Yeah, it tends to be. It's just a opportunistic type of thing.
I'm like, power to the women, but like not actually to harm people.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we don't need to do it that way.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, and usually I feel like these women are working for some sort of man who's like in charge and sends these people out. They bring it all back, and it's like a whole ring of stuff going on, right?
I don't know that's
I think usually
necessarily
like I
the
think
case.
that's like how they're backed by power. I believe so. I mean, doesn't matter what the women are doing anyway. But yeah, I feel like it's usually they work for a man who's kind of like helps set it up, protects them, organizes it, and handles all of it. Okay,
Yeah.
well, that was a long time on
Not
that,
good.
but there you go. It's a scam that does happen. So men, watch out for your belongings. Watch out when you're dating and feeling really good about your ego when all these women are hitting on you.
Not bad.
All right, what's next?
Next one's a fun for you to lead. It's the airport currency exchange.
This one, Jeff and I said this is like the illegal, not illegal, legal scam. So this one, like they tell you what they're doing, but when you a lot of people, when you go to a foreign country, if you're not a seasoned traveler, you will, take your cash from wherever you're from. And when you get there, you will exchange your money to have cash in the local currency. And most people do this at the airport because you're like, well, I've just landed. You got to make sure you have cash to get your taxi from the airport to wherever you're staying, to have on hand, all of that. But the currency exchange, when you do cash for cash, again, they tell you what the exchange rate is. So it's not like they're trying to, do a sleight of hand or hide it from you. But it is like, it should be illegal because they take I don't even know what percentages. I feel like they take like 18% of like what you're giving them. It's insane, and it varies from place to place. So instead of doing that, like, make sure, like, we always recommend, use your debit card, pull on the little ATM, go to an ATM that's inside the airport, somewhere that's watched, and use your debit card to get out money that's like at the actual exchange rate, not somewhere that takes a fee for cash.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you get, we always recommend, for us in the US, we use Charles Schwab is the best debit card to have because they'll refund literally any ATM fee. So if it costs $2, $5, $10 to pull money out, they will reimburse that to you every time. So it doesn't cost you anything to take it out. But even if you, let's say it costs $2.50 every time you pull something from the ATM, it's probably still going to be worth it to do that than take the hit of the currency exchange rate at the cash places at an airport or anywhere, even on the streets.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Also, yeah, the currency exchange on the ATMs, I think a lot of people don't realize they can just hit decline conversion. Did you just mention that? Sorry.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
So explain what that means.
So when you go to pull out money from an ATM, oftentimes the ATM will give you an exchange rate at which they're going to give you the local currency from your ATM, from your current currency. That exchange rate is usually really, really bad, and it's also a scam. So for example, I go to pull out money in Mexico, and it offered me an exchange rate of 17 pesos to $1. Should be 20 to 1. That's the current exchange rate. People don't realize that you can click decline, and your bank will actually settle the exchange rate for you, which is the correct exchange rate. You can click decline and still get the money and get the proper exchange rate. So just click decline on that. And 9 times out of 10, you'll still get the money. Some ATMs will not give you the money if you don't accept their bad rates. So just click the decline button.
And that's the same, like, if you use your credit card, even when you go to restaurants, when you're traveling abroad or buying anything anywhere, and they'll say, like, let's say you're in Mexico, poor Mexico, we're just getting her up, but let's say you're in Mexico and they say, do you want to be charged in US dollars or like local money? And mostly people are like, you're familiar with your dollars, the currency is worth. So you'll say, oh, do it in dollars, but never, just always do the local currency when you're buying things on your credit card as well at restaurants or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So that they can't like make up an exchange rate that's not real.
Exactly. Okay, next thing we've got on the list is people stealing your data when you're on public Wi-Fi networks. This is the reason why people recommend using ATMs at really like unsecure networks. So airport's
ATMs,
a good example.
VPNs.
Oh, sorry, VPNs. Yeah, VPNs.
We've been talking a lot about
using
ATMs.
my acronyms. Yeah,
like ATMs.
So yeah, public Wi-Fi, like non-password protected Wi-Fi's.
Yeah, especially if you think about like if you're in the airport where it's like airport public Wi-Fi, or it can even be at a restaurant or anywhere.
Yeah, so apparently if you're on the same network as other people, hackers can get into your data somehow. I don't know exactly how this works, but that's why people recommend using VPNs so people don't get in and find your banking account passwords and that kind of thing. I guess since I know so little about it, that's why I have a VPN. So when I'm using an unsecure network, I'll just hop on the VPN, especially if I'm using any passwords or anything financial related.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add to that? Because I don't know.
I would say in general, I also don't I don't know if this actually happening to anyone. Do you?
No.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is, I don't know, we had to put it on because, it's a thing. I feel like it does happen. I feel like it's not happening all the time all over the place. But the general rule, I will say, even if you're not thinking or you don't use a VPN, you don't know how to use a VPN, they're really easy. Use a VPN. However, the general rule that I have for myself is if you're on any sort of like public network that's not like, I don't know, at Airbnb, I don't feel this way. But technically it could as well. But if you're in a restaurant, a co-working space, a mall, a airport, just like anywhere we're just using Wi-Fi that's not like your own little thing somewhere, just don't do banking stuff. Like, don't enter passwords, don't, especially anything that has to do with your finances. Like, just don't log into things like that while you're on these networks is the easiest way. Even if you're not on a VPN. But if you are going to do that stuff, or for some reason you have to, do make sure you use a VPN.
Good. That's all I got on that one.
Yeah. What's
Hopefully
next?
it doesn't happen to you. Okay, so next one is misleading photos on Airbnbs. I think we both had this one before. Some people with Airbnb that post Airbnb listings are pretty generous with the way that they film and they photograph it. They're always adding in extra light, and they're always making it look bigger. That's the biggest one. Somehow they're very, very good at that.
Like those like wide LED, somehow they're super bright. Yeah.
And you're like, what the hell? You get in there, it's a Foot Locker. How did it make it look so big? How is the lighting so good? Now there's certain things that I look for is actually windows as opposed to light. I guess that's a decent tip. I just look for as many windows as possible. Yeah, Same. Exactly. For the size, it can be really tricky because those wide angle lenses really can be deceiving. I don't know if there's a good, like for multiple angles of the same area is what I do. I don't know if you've got a better tip for that in terms of
I feel like you just kind of learn. Actually? You can start to tell if they use those like kind of wide angle, like if things sort of are a little distorted in a shape where you're, and you see it from one side and then the other and you're like, wait a second, like it looked like there was this much space from here. How could it also be that much space from here? Be mindful there. And even like big, nice places will still use those just so you can like show a whole room at once. But start to really be mindful when you look to see like, does this like, try to see how much space it really feels like, because even though it looks like more, you can kind of start to tell when things are like that kind of it curves a little bit to sort of see what it looks like. And
it's a curve.
The curve, it's just not quite the right shape, and you can start to sort of tell like, okay, this wall, like if you really look and you're like, okay, I know a bedside table is usually like about this big and it looks like it's like 100 feet, it's like you can start to use common sense of like how big furniture really is and how much space it looks like if a table looks gigantic, you know what I mean? The stuff that you see will start to like look a little too big. So the space between it looks big, which is what they're going for, but it's tricky. If you're looking quick, you wouldn't notice, but you can start to kind of tell from that way. And then as Jeff said, the windows are a big one. I think I mentioned in that one a couple episodes ago where I don't remember which episode, but I was talking about in Latvia when I ended up in that basement apartment that literally had 0 windows. It was like a bomb shelter because we were booking it. So that was another one where I was frazzled, booking it late. Like on the way there, booking something, not my usual, whatever. It was only a couple days, but I did not look for windows. I think someone else booked it, to be fair. But if you don't see windows on there and it looks bright, it is not real. Do not book it. Look for the windows. I think the biggest thing is just look for windows.
Look for windows. Yeah, that's the best tip. Definitely look for windows.
Yeah.
And get Wi-Fi tests. Don't trust what they send you there. Sometimes they post it. That's not real. Or you actually have to
have them send you a screenshot.
Take it right now.
Yeah.
Send me a screenshot. If they say I can't send a screenshot, they're lying to you, or the Wi-Fi is bad. I've had that happen before too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a scam too. Sometimes the Wi-Fi is not good. Okay, last thing on the list is never happened to me. Pickpockets.
Okay, this has not happened to me, but it almost did once.
Oh, you caught him.
God, actually, my friend did, and this was the same friend I was with in Colombia. This was it was like the year after I graduated college. We were backpacking through Europe, and we were in France. We're in a really touristy area, like going to look at like Notre Dame, and this guy he had like a goblin mask on. This is why. So this is so long ago. I had a digital camera. Do you remember the old school ones we used to like have in college? Anyway, it's like iPhones like barely even took pictures then. So this was a long, long time ago. But anyway, I remember I had a rain jacket on. I was like taking pictures, my little digital camera, my friends, whatever, put it in my rain jacket pocket. It's like a pretty deep pocket. And then was just like walking around, and this guy in a goblin mask came up to, like right in my face and started like dancing around and like just like a psycho. And I was so like distracted that I was just like, what the fuck is happening to me? And my friend's like she's a badass like traveler too. Anyway, she's a guy. So as he was distracting me, someone he was working with came and tried to stick his hand in my pocket to take my camera. And my friend shoved him. He shoved him away and was like, what the fuck? And like, I was still just, I didn't even know what happened. And she like had to explain to me. So anyway, that's like I feel like a little bit more out there of a scam. But just in general, I feel like Definitely places in Europe, be mindful. South Africa, people will take stuff. Brazil, a lot of, I would say mostly like I don't know, some Latin America, South America, but just be mindful. Like, don't walk around with your phone in the back of your pocket. Don't walk around with stuff. Like, just, keep your purse like tightly next to your body, not just like hanging around that people can grab stuff out of, open pockets, zippers, all the things. But yeah, just general, like, we call it petty theft. You're not going to get like, it's usually not dangerous, but people will take your stuff.
Okay, that's it. We have one. We have one bonus one. I thought you had one more.
There was one bonus. So
Was
this
there
is less
one?
of a travel scam, but
Yeah.
is a digital nomad scam that we talk about, which is fake job listings. So this is not a ground, but if you are a digital nomad or you were looking to become a digital nomad and you were looking for a remote job, Jeff and I have talked about this in a couple episodes that a lot, oftentimes it's quoted at around 50% of job listings on job boards are scams and are fake. And these are usually put up by recruiters or people who are trying to get get your email, your name, your contact information to put on a list, to sell, to reach out to about whatever. So do be mindful of fake job listings. That is a scam. So again, it's not traveling on the ground, but it's part of digital nomad life. So we just wanted to put that one out there too. And if you want real job listings, we do our best. We're not, we can't guarantee anything, but we really do try to find and, always look for legitimate companies and pull jobs directly from their website, not from job boards, to find the best job listings that are not scams for you, that actually let you work from anywhere. So again, if you're not on our email list already, check out beachcommute.com/email to get non-scam job listings so you can then travel and be scammed. No, just kidding. Now that you know all the scams that are out there, you can travel and have none of these things happen to you. We've learned the lessons for you, so you don't have to.
Okay, is that it for this episode?
That is
Do you have
it.
anything else to share with anybody?
That is all.
Okay. Well, we'll see you again next week, and we hope that you get the privilege of being scammed in the future. Hopefully none of these ones. If you do, share them with us. Hopefully not a bad one, but they are part of travel
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
write us in if you've had any other ones too. Hello@beachcommute.com. If you've had like any other scams that we missed on this list that have happened to you, definitely let us know.